All right. All right. So I think most of you are probably aware of what we're expecting over the next few days for the most part. We are looking at several rounds of rain over basically the next week into the middle of next week. Timing certainly we'll be looking at as we progress through the next few days, duration, amounts, things like that. But at this point, we'll give you sort of what we're looking at, what we're thinking over the next few days, both on the threats and the impacts. So with the rain, we could see a line of stronger showers and a couple of storms move through during the day tomorrow. We're not really highlighted on any severe weather threat. I don't think we're really going to see any severe weather with it, although there could be some enhancement of wind and rain as that line pushes through tomorrow. We'll talk about that here in just a second. 3 to 6 inches of rain with locally higher amounts. That's what we could be looking at across just about the entire area over the next 5 to 7 days. That's a lot of rain, especially considering that the grounds really haven't been able to recover from the recent rain events that we've had over the last few weeks. This is certainly going to exacerbate the stream, creek, and river flooding, which could even linger into beyond next week, just depending on how much rain we see over the next few days. And there is the potential for localized flash flooding. So the river flooding we're definitely expecting over the next few days and into next week. But we could see, as we get these pulses of heavy rain moving through, we could see some localized flash flooding where water comes up in some areas very quickly, especially the higher elevations of North Georgia where the terrain's a little bit more complex, and we do have some more flood-prone areas there. In addition to that, through the day and into the evening hours, we're already seeing the winds pick up. These are gradient winds, we call them. As the storm system approaches from the west, the pressure gradient tightens up and the winds pick up quite a bit. And we're already seeing some gusts between 30 and 45 miles per hour in the higher elevations of North Georgia. So this could definitely result in some downed trees over the next 6 to 12 hours. So that's a threat that we'll have to consider and keep in mind even before the rain even starts across the area. So big picture, we do have a pretty strong storm system that's wrapping up over northeast Kansas, moving into the upper Midwest. There's a warm front that extends basically from Arkansas southeast across Mississippi, South Alabama, and into North Florida. That front's going to move to the north and east later today through tonight. So we're kind of wedged in that cool, cloudy air for the most part right now. There might be a few showers that pop up over through the afternoon. But as that warm front lifts northeast, when we get into what we call the warm sector, that's when, the air mass is going to become a little bit more unstable. There'll be more moisture to deal with ahead of the cold front that's now pushing across Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas at this time. That's where the the heavier shower and thunderstorm activity is situated, and we'll get into that over our area later tonight into tomorrow. I mentioned earlier, we're not really expecting any widespread severe weather with this. The focus is definitely going to be the rainfall, the periods of heavy rain later tonight into tomorrow with this first round, and of course the enhanced winds that could take down some trees and power lines, things like that. All right, let's jump right into what we have as far as headlines. We do have a flash flood watch out for just about our entire forecast area, with the exception of our southeast counties, and we left those out because with this initial round coming through later tonight into tomorrow, we feel like the heaviest of rain is going to be across the northern 2/3 of our forecast area. So we kind of wanted to address this first wave moving through later today through tomorrow. If we wind up extending or expanding the watch, that'll probably happen over the next couple of days. But this initial flash flood watch is in effect until, I believe, 7 a.m. Saturday morning. Before that, we'll certainly address whether we need to extend it. And at that point, we might be looking at some localized warnings as well with respect to flooding and flash flooding. So that's the latest flash flood watch. We do also have a wind advisory that's in effect for basically west central, northwest, and north central Georgia, especially the higher elevations where we could see some gusts over 35 miles per hour at times through the evening hours. The winds should start to come down a little bit later tonight into tomorrow, but again, with that line of showers that were expected to come through later tonight through the day tomorrow, the winds can certainly be enhanced with that heavier rain. So the other graphic that you see next to that wind advisory is what we're expecting as far as maximum wind gust over the next 6 to 12 hours. And we're already starting to see that, especially across parts of North Georgia. Some of the higher elevations have exceeded like 35 to 40 mile per hour gust at times. So definitely something to watch and be prepared for in addition to the rainfall coming in. All right. Let's see. We have the main story, okay, is the rain. I've been talking about that already. This is basically from the Weather Prediction Center, we're going along with it. This is with the predicted rainfall over the next 7 days. Of course, it's subject to change, but generally speaking, we expect a good portion of North Georgia that could see anywhere from 4 to 6 or even locally more inches over the next 7 days. It's not going to come all at once. We're not going to see all this rain in 24 hours, but it's definitely going to be, periods of rain, one wave coming through, a second wave coming through later this weekend, and even a third wave kicking through early next week. So I'll go through those in just a second, but this is the big picture talking about the heavy rainfall and heavy rain amounts over the next 5 to 7 days. The longer term impacts are definitely going to be to the rivers and streams that even after the rain ends sometime next week, we could still be looking at flood warnings that are in effect for area rivers and streams. Heck, we still even have a couple of rivers down south across central and south Georgia that are still in flood from the rains that we had a couple of weeks ago. So this is definitely going to, open the door for more locations to see flooding, and hopefully it doesn't get into a moderate or a major flood situation, but definitely a minor flooding for a number of rivers and streams over the next week or so. All right, so the round one, this is going to be later today, tonight, into tomorrow. What you're seeing is an animated, I did animate a high-resolution model that we have showing the reflectivity basically beginning later on this evening all the way through midday tomorrow. So it's about an 18-hour loop, hour by hour, showing you the rain, the showers kind of popping up later this evening, and then the mainline, more organized rain ahead of that cold front that's currently over the lower Mississippi River Valley. That's going to be swinging through or pushing through tonight, late tonight, through the day tomorrow from west to east. And that area of rain is where we could really see some problems as we head into tomorrow, because we could see that's where we could get a quick half inch to an inch and a half and maybe even 2 inches of rain in a very short period of time. The graphic in the lower right is from the Weather Prediction Center's excessive rainfall outlook. They have in that brown area, which is pretty much areas along I-85 north and west, in a slight risk. And this is basically where we're anticipating the heavier rainfall and rain amounts to occur over the next 12 to 24 hours. The next slide will show you, this is the basically expected rainfall just through tomorrow. So you can see across North Georgia in the higher elevations, we could definitely see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches by this time tomorrow. And that's going to definitely cause some problems, some localized flash flooding and some area creeks and streams going up pretty quickly. Much of the rest of the area is still going to get anywhere from 1 to 2 inches through tomorrow. The lesser amounts are going to be across our far southeast counties, south and east of Macon, down towards Dublin, Vidalia, and this is where we think the line is going to kind of break up a little bit during the day tomorrow, not as organized and pronounced as it will be later tonight into tomorrow across west central, northwest, and north central Georgia. Anyway, so this is something we need to obviously prepare for with the heavier rain coming in later tonight into tomorrow. Now, the next round, we're going to see a break in the rain, thankfully, sometime tomorrow night, Friday night into Saturday. It's going to remain cloudy. There might be some patchy drizzle or light rain, but nothing really, to key on until Saturday night into Sunday. And I have another model that I'm showing basically from about midnight Saturday night through Sunday afternoon. Another wave kicks across the area and more showers and a couple of storms could pop up overnight Saturday night into Sunday. And this is especially it could be more focused north of I-20. We're not quite sure, but based on this model that we feel is fairly reliable at this point, the heavier rain is going to be with the second round is going to be across North Georgia. And if you remember just a few minutes ago, North Georgia, especially in the higher elevations, is where we're going to see the most, potentially the most rainfall, with this first round coming through later tonight into tomorrow. So additional rainfall Saturday night into Sunday is another inch to inch and a half across northern portions of Georgia, lesser amounts to the south. So whatever concerns and impacts that we're already dealing with, could be exacerbated based on the additional rainfall late Saturday night through the day on Sunday. So moving ahead into Monday and Tuesday, another storm system with a little bit more of a punch is going to sweep through, and this is going to produce even more rain. So Monday into Tuesday afternoon, we're going to see several more rounds of rain, locally heavy at times. And as you can see, I got another animated model showing you where the precipitation is going to be moving west to east, basically from Monday through Tuesday afternoon. Not everybody's going to see rain the whole entire time, but you can definitely get the big picture that it's going to be wet all the way through Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. And additional rainfall with this third wave could exceed 1 to 2 inches in spots. So we're not going to be out of the woods after this weekend, heading into early next week. So just depending on how much rain we see up to this point is going to really, affect the impacts with respect to the creeks, streams, and rivers that are going to be responding to all this rain over the next few days. After Tuesday into Wednesday, pretty strong cold front moves through, and it should kick everything out by midweek. There's some uncertainty as to if there's going to be some overrunning precipitation as the colder air comes in by the middle of next week, and whether or not we see maybe a brief transition to snow or wintry precipitation. At this point, we're not going to put a whole lot into it because it's a week out. But we definitely will be watching it, and we'll be fine-tuning that forecast as we head through the next few days. All right, just to kind of wrap things up, I did want to show a quick graphic showing the river points and locations that have forecast points at least. A number of forecast points across North Georgia and Middle Georgia, and then even into South Georgia, are going to be, if they're not in flood already, they will likely be approaching flood stage in the next 3 to 5 days. So keep that in mind. Anywhere, low-lying areas, floodplains, places that are in flood-prone areas are going to be seriously affected over the next few days as we see these multi-day rain event. And this flooding situation, even after the heavy rain ends by early to middle of next week, as I mentioned earlier, could extend well beyond the middle of next week. So that's something to just keep in mind as we progress forward. Okay. Again, this is sort of the big picture. The next 7 days, this is predicted rainfall, 4 to 6 inch swath across much of North Georgia, 3 to 5, 2 to 4 inches across the remainder of central Georgia, lesser amounts to the south and east. The focus for the heaviest rain is definitely going to be along an axis from central Alabama up into North Georgia, basically from Birmingham north of Atlanta up towards the Tennessee, North Carolina border. So again, it's not going to all come in at once, but definitely over the next few days, we could start to see the rain pile up, and it's going to cause some problems with respect to runoff and the creeks, streams, and rivers that are eventually going to respond. The smaller creeks and streams are going to respond faster, and then eventually the larger stem rivers are going to respond as all that runoff from the ground and from the smaller creeks and streams go into the bigger tributaries. So this is definitely going to be an extended event, unfortunately, with the flooding, more than likely beyond the middle of next week. So just stay tuned to kind of stay updated on things. Use our page as needed to monitor those flood forecasts and with rivers and streams. All right, just to recap, multi-day rain event over the next 5 to 7 days, several rounds of rain beginning later tonight into tomorrow, and we could definitely see some significant rainfall by late tonight into the day tomorrow, with that line of showers, and a few storms are possible embedded within that line as it moves across the area tomorrow. Not really expecting any widespread severe weather, but within that line, certainly very heavy rainfall, some cloud-to-ground lightning, and enhanced wind speeds could definitely occur through the day tomorrow. 3 to 6 inches of rain with locally higher amounts across the entire area over the next 5 to 7 days. Already talked about the river, stream, and creek flooding expected that could linger beyond next week. The localized flash flooding could be a concern. This is going to be more time specific, like short-term kind of flood situations, especially in North Georgia where we have some complex terrain. So hopefully the word is out and people are prepared, especially if anybody's outdoor camping or hiking, anything like that. The gusty winds are going to be an issue through this evening, but then the winds should start to come down. There'll definitely be some periodic gusts over the next couple of days, but we shouldn't see that real strong wind gust across much of the area beyond tonight. So just keep that in mind with respect to down trees and power lines through the day today into the evening hours, and we have that wind advisory that's in effect through tonight. All right, that wraps up the briefing. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but open it up to questions.